First up, first of our presenters today, this morning, are Gary White and Bo Chesser. Gary is the interim director of the Georgia Forestry Commission, where he oversees the state agency's leadership, service, and education relative to Georgia's forest resources. And Bo Chesser is the Georgia Forestry Commission's South Zone officer, where he oversees all fire management, both prescribed and wildfire, in the southern zone of Georgia. Take it away, Gary and Bo.
Good morning, everyone. First of all, before we get going too far, I want to thank everyone who's made this meeting possible. Mark and Frank and Gina been a big help to make this thing happen. You know, hopefully maybe next year we'll be able to meet again. Frank talked about the fried chicken and the lemon pie. I enjoy the biscuit in the morning and the fellowship and meeting with folks and spend some time with folks that you don't get to see very often. But you know, to say that the last year has been a challenge for the Forestry Commission and for all of us really is an understatement. But throughout it all, you know, our number one goal has to keep a healthy workforce that's able to get out and fight the fires where necessary, and then also to prevent the spread to our families and our communities. You know, but we've used protocols that have worked pretty well. We've had some exposures. You know, the fear was that we were going to have to shut down entire offices and wouldn't be available to fight fire. And we've come through pretty well. But, you know, really, we're in week 29 right now of the reaction to COVID. And we're going to have to figure out a way, all of us are going to have to figure out a way to move forward to get fire on the ground. And that's what we're doing with the Forestry Commission. We've got protocols in place to stay safe, but yet at the same time, provide the services that are so necessary to work with our landowners. And you know, our foresters are teleworking, our offices are doing reduced staffing and those kind of things. And so we have a plan in place. So when we get our fire season going again, that we'll have the folks on the ground working with our landowners to get prescribed fire out there. You know, spring, we learned a lot when we went through the spring fire season and we didn't get out as much maybe as we could have, but we were all learning and we're ready to go on into the fall prescribed fall and winter dormant season to get some fire out there with our partners. You know, we also have to be prepared for a fall fire season. Frank Sorrells, our protection chief, has predicted using prediction models that he knows about that we could have a fire season, you know, active fire season this fall. You know, we've also provided a lot of folks out west already. If you watch the news, we've got an active fire season for sure out west, California, Oregon. We've got a crew coming back today from Oregon. So, you know, we've already worked with them on how to keep folks safe, you know, during these incidents. So we'll do that when they get home. Some of the folks talk about our budget, you know, wanted to know where are we on a budget. We ended up with an 8.5% cut in the fiscal year that we're in now, and we'll have that same budget for next fiscal year that we're working on. We're already working with the legislature on how we'll carry this budget forward. We didn't have any furloughs and layoffs, but we moved some folks around. We're trying to reduce operations and those kind of things to meet that 8.5% cut in our budget. And during all this, many of you know we're also in the middle of a director search. So we hope to have a new director by the beginning of the year. But the main thing in a nutshell is we're going to learn to make fire happen. We're going to get out there. Our folks are going to be available. We're going to fight fire for sure. And we're also going to work with our private landowners that we normally work with to do prescribed fire. So with that, I'm going to pass it on to Bo Chesser, who's going to be able to give us some numbers about our past season and projections, perhaps. Bo?
Hey, thanks, Gary. Good morning, everyone. It's good to come together and share with fellow prescribed burn practitioners and share some accomplishments about our prescribed burning numbers in Georgia. Okay, jumping right in. For FY20, you'll see that we had a slight reduction of 250,000 acres when we compare FY20 to our 5-year average. And I just want to point out that the yearly numbers that I'll be sharing coincide with our state fiscal year, which runs between July 1st and June 30th of each year. So again, a 250,000 acre reduction for 2020. If we look into these numbers further, we'll notice that for all types of burning, we've had a reduction in the last 2 years. Well, to dive in a little bit further, in 2019, we know we had high amounts of rainfall in late 2018 and spring of 2019. So that led to the lower numbers for our FY19. And of course, we feel like COVID-19 pandemic had a direct influence on our reduced numbers for 2020. If we look at acreage burned by type, by far in Georgia, silviculture tops our list, and silviculture burns include those burns for hazard reduction, wildlife habitat management, and site preparation for reforestation activities. So silviculture in Georgia is 81% above, both land clearing coming in at just over 87,000 and agriculture burning about 89,500 acres. We dive into and look specifically at silviculture and burn operations in Georgia. We average about 936,000 acres burned annually. One thing of interest here is the 2020 versus 2019 comparison in black, as we had a slight increase in 2020 over 2019. And again, we believe that that's linked to the wetter conditions in late 2018 and early spring 2019 during our peak burning periods. The Georgia Forestry Commission, we're currently working on the development of a new web-based permitting system. That process was made available by grants through the Georgia Environmental Protection Division and United States EPA provided funding for that model, and we're currently working on testing that for our internal employees and looking to go live around the 1st of November. So when you call in, we'll be putting those permit requests into our new system with the overall goal of being able to open the new system up to our certified burn managers, so they'll be able to log into that system and make a burn permit request on those acreage burns well in advance without having to contact our offices or response centers. That they'll be able to submit those through a mobile platform or PCs. Just kind of quickly summarize our activity for prescribed fire in Georgia. We did have a lower number, but again, we met our target of exceeding 1 million acres in Georgia. That's very important for us, something we're very proud of. We know that some landowners chose to hold off their burns due to concerns about COVID. And as Gary mentioned, we've altered our operations, but made it a point to maintain a formidable firefighting force and at the same time be able to continue those critical landowner services of installing pre-suppression fire breaks and offering field assistance in prescribed burning. And we also encourage you all to take COVID-19 and those mitigation strategies into account, because if our workforce, if our landowners, our consultants and contractors are not healthy, we know that will negatively impact our ability to get prescribed fire and keep it on the ground and keep our numbers high. Changing gears and looking real quick at our wildfire activity overall for 2019, we saw a decrease in both the number of fires as well as the number of acreage impacted by those fires. However, as Gary mentioned, we're kind of looking at something for the next few months based off of forecasts from our predictive services. Kind of bring it into a perspective here using a table. You'll see for FY20, we had a total of just over 2,500 fires in the state, and those fires burned almost 9,500 acres. So overall, that's about 27% below our 5-year average for the number of fires, and then a very good number, 60% below our normal 5-year average for acres impacted by wildfire in Georgia. Kind of looking ahead, this slide will show the current outlook for both October and November. This document is produced by the National Interagency Fire Center located in Boise, Idaho. It's released at the first of each month. So what you're seeing here for October and November, we look to have some relief into Texas and Louisiana, Mississippi, and maybe parts of Alabama due to the tropical storm systems that's brought rains to the southeast, Sally and Beta. So we do look to see some relief, but again, our anticipation for Georgia is still to be going through a much warmer and drier fall and winter. And one of our major concerns is, does those dry conditions coincide with our annual leaf fall, especially in the north part of the state, because that can create some fire challenges, both for our practitioners as well as our firefighters, if we enter dry conditions when leaves begin to fall. At GFC, we'll continue to monitor our preparedness strategies and make changes as needed to ensure that we respond quickly and appropriately to any fires. And we also know with those drier conditions, it's going to come with increased need for our practitioners to really be aware of these drier conditions on how they may influence our individual prescribed fires. We can expect increased fire line intensities, ignition of larger fuels that we may not otherwise be able to introduce a backing fire and not ignite some of those larger fuels. We can expect longer duration of those burns, and then of course increased potential for escape. Thank you all again. We're looking forward to the rest of the program and know that you all will be receiving some great information today. And if there's anything that you all need that we can help with or have questions, please feel free to contact us. Thank you all and happy burning.
All right. Thanks, Bo and Gary, for the update on the state of fire in Georgia. Really excited about that online permitting system. If you guys heard him, you got to be a Georgia prescribed fire certified burn manager. And look what I just found this week, number 2042. Very cool. It's a great class. Yet another reason to take it. I'm Shan Kamek. I work for the Georgia Department of Natural Resources, and I will be running our Q&A today. I wear a number of hats in fire, but the first thing we're going to do is our polling question. So Lisa, if you deploy the poll, you should see a little poll pop up on your thing. Just pick the answer. How many prescribed fires do you conduct each year? Let's just say this is an average year in general. I know this year was weird with COVID. A number of us pulled back on our burning and took it careful. And I want to thank the fire community and GFC for continuing to give permits this year, because a lot of other states shut down completely, but we were very prudent managers with our smoke, didn't have any issues, and kept using this important tool. So go ahead and lock in your answer and we'll see how many fires. Okay, it looks like almost half of us are burning between 2 and 10 fires a year. A quarter of us are burning more than 10. So very cool. So you guys be patient with me in the Q&A. There are 557 of you guys. 381 of you guys listening right now, and there's only one of me. So I'll do my best throughout the day to get your questions answered. And like Frank said, we know who you are. It's not anonymous. So if we miss your question, we'll get the speakers to get back to you. So have fun, enjoy the day. You know, I'd rather be at Moody Forest in the back of a truck waxing lyrical about mature longleaf pine, but that's not going to happen. But what we do have is a lot of cool speakers with a lot of knowledge. So let's take advantage of it, tap into that, and have some fun.